Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to the live stream. And if you have not liked the video yet, please make sure to press the like button and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Most of the people who usually watch these live streams and videos, they are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, so please make sure to do that. And if you are not following me over Twitter, I occasionally share my analysis and free calls over my Twitter account as well. So make sure that you are following me over Twitter, over my Twitter account, Sherlock Whale. This is my handle. And of course, if you would like to receive more detailed analysis, market updates, and more organized calls, then you can obviously join the Discord server. The links for the Twitter account, the link for the Discord server, all of this you're going to find out in the description of this video. So once again, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure to like this video. So let's start the stream, and if you guys may have any questions specifically related to the calls that are being shared or any chart request that you may have, you can always drop it in the chat box. I usually take questions during the stream as well. So yeah, if you have any relevant question, you can always drop it in the chat box. Red Hood is asking you longing any altcoin soon. Yes. I woke up early today and I went through almost all the coins in my watch list. To watch list, I usually go through. The first one is the Bybit futures pairs, and the second one is Bluffin futures pairs. So almost there are like uh in the first watch list, in the Bybit watch list, there are around 479 pairs. And similar is the case with the Bluffin futures pairs as well. There are around 407 pairs, in each one of these watch lists. So I spent like, 3-4 hours and I went through all of these pairs and I was able to, filter out at least 5 to 6, good setups in my opinion. The one that I already have given is of Avalanche, AVEX. If you have not placed the limits for this, you can do that. The entry point, it's still at the entry point. The limit order we placed around $36. I guess the limit has already been filled. So yeah, if you have not placed the limits for this, you can already do that. It's still at the entry point. Although there is no rush, which means that there is still a possibility. I would be explaining to you in terms of where exactly Bitcoin is trading around, what are the chances, where exactly we can go towards 85K, 100K, 98K, 106,000. We will be talking about all of that later on. But the point is that please do not go high on leverage. If you have missed the chance to long a few altcoins, I did it myself, right? I missed the chance to long a few good. I missed the chance to take few good long positions. The one was on this coin called, first one was on Fartcoin, and the second one was on it's called Griffin or something like that. That was a very good long position. But anyways, these two long positions I had yesterday, I unfortunately missed both of these positions because price was literally too volatile, and both of these coins are already up almost like 30 to 40% during the last 24 hours. We all know that last 24 hours the price action has been extremely volatile. But still, Avalanche is something which I believe is still around the entry point. You can place the limits. The entry point for Avalanche is at $36. The DCA is around $32. And stop loss is the manual 4-hour close below 30.750. And final target is around 65.480. The reason why I'm taking a long on Avalanche is because if you take a look at it on the weekly time frame chart, this is a weekly time frame chart on Avalanche. You can clearly see this thing that this is a very important weekly time frame support area, right? And on the weekly time frame, this area is usually a level where price is always reacting. Price had a break above, it consolidated a little bit, and then it gave a nice retest, and then it went up almost around in a few weeks. Although it went up almost 100%, 99% move you got. And then we had a break below, and once again, price consolidated a little bit, and then we had a nice retest around this area. This was the first retest, this was the second retest, and then there were a few retests when price was trading above this level as well. So the point is that this region, $30 region on Avalanche chart, it's a very strong support resistance area. It's a very strong level, which means price is always almost always reacting at this level. And if you look at the weekly time frame chart, this is the first retest of this level. And you know the rule, right? The first retest is always your single best opportunity to take a long or a short trade. And that's why I have placed the limits on Avalanche. Although, ideally speaking, we should have longed this around $32 region when the retest was happening. But once again, we all know that price action during the last 24 hours, it was too volatile. And I still believe that it's around the entry point. The stop loss is not too huge. You see, the problem with most of these setups, somebody just asked that, do you have any altcoin long positions? I do have a few, setups, not just 5 or 6. I have like, 10 to 15 charts that look extremely good. Like in the case of Avalanche, if you would draw the fib levels from this major swing low to this major swing high, you would notice that price had a perfect bounce of 61%, 65% fib level. And almost all of these coins on the weekly time frame chart are retesting very important levels. Almost like 10 to 15 altcoins, they have extremely good setups. But the point is that during the last 24 hours, most of them are already up almost like 10 to 15%, which means there is no point chasing the price. And if you have been someone who actively watches some of my previous videos, you would know that I'm never really chasing price, which means that I would simply just place the limits. Even if it takes few days, few weeks, even a month or so, I would simply just place the limits at the right point, and then I would wait for price to come back to me instead of just going after the price. In the case of EVEX, there is every possibility, there are almost 70% chances that price would ultimately retrace back down to this region once again. But the reason why I'm chasing the price in this situation is because price is not 10%, 15%, 20% up from this entry point, which means that the stop loss in this situation is only 14%, and if the DCA gets filled, it's going to be somewhere around like 5%, 6%, which is an acceptable situation, right? But with other but with few other setups, if I would simply just start chasing the price, which is not an ideal situation in my opinion, considering that Bitcoin is at a resistance area and USDT dominance is at support. This is at support, and this is something that we have to talk about next. So there is no point opening any random long positions at this moment. Uh, Bitcoin has created a perfect deviation move below the 92K support, which means that there is every possibility that in the next few hours or maybe the next few days, although the timeline it is extremely bullish, just 6 days remaining before Trump is back into the office, which means that, and I was just looking at some news articles, and people are saying that even at the first day, as soon as he arrives into the office, he is going to sign some executive orders related to crypto, Bitcoin reserve and all that. And just yesterday we had two very important pieces of news events. The first one was that the Trump administration has decided to create a 21-member advisory board who's going to work very closely with SEC and other financial institutions in the US government to pass legislations related to Bitcoin reserve, and Bitcoin National Reserve and a few other things, which means that the timeline it is extremely bullish. And I'm really happy looking at the Bitcoin chart. I'm really happy that we had this nice liquidation wick down to 89,000. Although we completely front ran the 85,000 limit orders, but still it's a good thing. It's the good part is that at least it's not a slow bleed kind of situation, which is usually a very dangerous situation. Usually when you have price moving slowly making these waves, lower lows and lower highs, usually this is a very dangerous kind of situation. Yeah, and somebody just mentioned that Gary Gensler resigns on he is going to resign on 20th of January, which is once again something extremely bullish because we all know, what kind of a person he is, right? So let's just take a look at the Bitcoin chart. This is, by the way, the only long position which I am in right now. The limits, once again, for those of you who just joined in, the limit for this Avalanche long position is at $36. it's still at the entry point. You can take the long position, and no need to rush this, because there is every possibility that we would at least retrace back down to this region. Because you see, we are not looking at the 4 hour time frame chart. And by the way, 85 people are watching the live stream and only 33 of you have liked it. Please make sure to press the like button, and please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to be a very interesting live stream. And by the way, 8 minutes till the US market opens up. This is going to be very important to open, in my opinion. There are chances that price could straight away shoot from this point. We could simply just break above the 98,000 resistance as well, but still we are at the resistance area, and that's why you need to pay attention to it. So I was talking about the avalanche chart, and I was saying that this is a weekly time frame candle, which means that even if it goes down a little bit, goes back down to retest this region on the weekly time frame chart, it's simple. Since the week just opened up, there are still 5 days and 10 hours for this candle to close, which means that anything that happens in between this candle, during this 1 week, it's going to be contained inside this one weekly candle, which means that once again there is every possibility that on the avalanche chart, price may retrace back down to $33, even $31 as well. But $32, 36 is the entry point for this long position. 32, I guess, is the DCA, and 30.750, this is the stop loss. Manual 4 hour close below this point is when we would simply just cut this position. I have rated this setup at 7 out of 10, though I still believe it's around like 7.58, which is the only reason why the rating is slightly low, is because there are not too many confluences present. One is present, which is in the form of quarterly VWAP on the weekly time frame chart. Let me just show you real quick. This is the weekly time frame quarterly VWAP, and by the way, we all know quarterly VWAP, yearly VWAP, these are very strong indicators. And just for your information, in case you are wondering that why exactly price had a bounce of 89,000 level, 88,000 level, this was mainly because of 1 day quarterly VWAP. Okay, this is the 1 day time frame chart of Bitcoin, and you can clearly notice this thing that price, if I zoom in a little bit, price had a perfect retest, and this was the first time after 10th of October that we were retesting this quarterly VWAP. So, what was so special about, just like I'm always saying, that all the movements that are happening on the charts, be it the Bitcoin chart, be it the Ethereum chart, or any other chart, these movements, they are not random. You can always look at these wicks, you can always look at these price movements, and you can say that, okay, this is the logic behind. And if you are wondering that why exactly, what was so special about 89,150, what was so special about this price point, this was mainly because of 1 day quarterly VWAP. And once again, the quarterly VWAP on the daily time frame chart of Bitcoin is being retested for the first time after 10th of October, first time after the elections. Okay, the elections were on 5th of November, which means it's been almost 3 months that this region, it was not retested, and it's being retested first time in the last like 3 to 4 months. So it's a very bullish thing, and that's why price had a very clear bounce off this level. And this is not the traditional VWAP indicator. You are not going to find it out in the indicators tab on TradingView. You would have to, this is a very important indicator. I'm just mentioning, it's not because I created this indicator. It's not because I came up with the idea of creating this indicator. I have a few other indicators also, like the quarterly VWAP, like MTF 200 EMA, another very popular indicator that I created, and people have been absolutely loving it, right? In case you are wondering that why exactly Ethereum had this nice bounce off this level, this was mainly because of not quarterly VWAP, not yearly VWAP, but because of MTF 200 EMA. And I was mentioning this in my channel just yesterday also. We had the long limits placed on Ethereum around $2,800 region. We basically got a front run on that. But the reason price had a nice bounce off this level, this was mainly because of MTF 200 EMA, another very important indicator, another very important concept that I came up with. And once again, you're not going to find this out in the indicators tab. You would have to join the Discord server, Foxian's Discord server, the link for which you're going to find out in the description of this video. And you have to simply just open up a support ticket. This is absolutely free. you have to open up a support ticket, and you can ask the support staff about the script of this indicator. They would share it with you. You can copy paste that script in your TradingView terminal, and these indicators, they would automatically be applied on your chart. But anyways, the reason we had a very nice bounce around 89,150 level was mainly because of 4-hour quarterly VWAP. But let's just get straight to the point, that where exactly price is headed towards from this point onwards, right? Where exactly are we standing at this moment? Price right now is trading around 96,732, and we all know that price right now is trading around a resistance area in terms of horizontal resistance, and that's why you need to be very careful. That's why you need to be very careful about opening long positions. There is every possibility that we would at least retrace back down to 93,400, 93,500. I have long limits on the Bitcoin chart placed around 92,386. Maybe I would alter these limits slightly. But the reason why I'm saying that you need to be a little bit cautious around here is because, although on the 4-hour time frame chart, the structure for Bitcoin, it's perfectly protected. On the 4-hour time frame chart, you need to remember this thing. On the 4-hour time frame chart, the structure of Bitcoin, it's completely protected. It's absolutely bullish, and luckily we did not have a close below this low right here. And now this would simply just be considered as a liquidation wick. This would simply just be considered as a run on stops just below this low. This would simply just be considered as a swing failure pattern, whatever you would like to call it, and this is not going to be considered as a change of character. If we had closed a 4-hour candle below this low, and this is something that I have been mentioning from the last few weeks, that if we get a close below 90,700, this low right here, that's when the whole market structure is going to shift. That's when the whole market structure is going to shift back to bearish, and this is not something that you would like to see. And I was mentioning this in the stream last Monday as well. Last week I was saying that the ideal case scenario, because we all know that this was always supposed to happen. This wick was always supposed to happen, although I was expecting a wick lower down to 86,000, 87,000 region, because of 127% fib level, because of this important support area, and there were a few other confluences as well. But the good part is that at least this wick thing has already happened. We are not seeing a slow bleed kind of a situation, because once again, that's a very dangerous situation. If price is slowly moving downside or upside, that's a very dangerous situation, because it basically shows you that whatever is happening on the price chart, it's a very sustained move. Like, in this situation, price was very slowly moving towards downside, slow bleed. This is something that you call a slow bleed, and there was no bigger liquidation wick. I would not say that this was a massive liquidation wick, but the reason why this wick becomes so important, the reason why this candle right here down to 89,150 level is so important, is mainly because this is the last low, right? This is the low that we had, in which just in a matter of few candles, we had a dump from 104,000 all the way down to 90,500. Although at that time the altcoins, they barely moved thanks to Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin dominance at that time was also going down. But we had the second dump down to 91,000 level, and this low, it was absolutely protected, which means that all those people who were taking their long positions around here, they had the obvious choice of placing the stops just below this low, and the stop losses were absolutely protected. Price had a move towards upside. Once again, we had another dump down to this level, we had another dump down to this level. Once again, this low was protected, and price just took the stops below this low. And then once again, we had another low being created. This was the first low, this was the second low, this was the third low, and you can see that with every new low being created, stops are being taken below the previous low. But this was a good wick. This was a slightly better situation, I would say, because in this scenario, the stops below this low, they were being taken out, and this low was being protected since 5th of December. So it's a very good situation that the stops below this low, they were being taken out, and now I believe that it's a kind of a very good situation compared to these previous lows being created. So the first thing that you need to pay attention to is that price has created a perfect deviation move below the support area, right? This is not something that I was initially expecting when price had started to close below below this support area. the market structure is still protected. Let me just quickly show you how exactly it remains protected. This is your impulsive wave, this is your corrective wave, this is once again your impulsive wave. I'm completely ignoring this wave right here, this impulsive and corrective wave, because I'm not going to get into the details of that, because market structure, it's simply just a slightly complex thing to understand. But the reason why I'm ignoring this wave right here is because we had a lower low being created. This low right here, it was lower than this low right here. That's why this is your impulsive wave, corrective wave, this is your impulsive wave, and this is your corrective wave, and this is your impulsive wave. Okay. And now it is extremely simple. If you have to see a change of character happening on the chart, if you're looking for a change of character, then price needs to close a 4-hour candle. Since we are looking at the 4-hour time frame chart, it really depends on what time frame you are looking at. Although I would show you that in terms of internal structure, price action looks slightly bearish, but in terms of external structure, in terms of the bigger picture, the price action, it's absolutely bearish. You have an impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive, corrective, impulsive, and now all of this action is going to be considered as a corrective wave. And once again, I would not go into the details of that, because a new impulsive wave and corrective wave structure has been created, because price only wicked below this low. But the important point is that we only had a wick below this low. We did not close a 4-hour candle below this low. We only had a wick below this low. And in terms of market structure, if we get a wick below a low or above a high, this is not something that you term as a break of structure, which is an indication of the continuation of the move, or a change of character, which is an indication of the you know of the market structure being shifted towards the opposite side. So once again, the point is that since we only had a wick below the previous low, this is going to be considered as a liquidation hunt, this is going to be considered as a stop hunt, this is going to be considered as simply just a wick below the previous low, and this is not something that you would call a break of structure or change of character, which means that on the 4-hour time frame chart, the market structure, it's absolutely protected. But in terms of internal structure, the reason why I want you to be a little bit cautious, the first thing is very obvious, that price is hitting into a resistance area. Once again, this is something that we would talk about later on. 90 people watching the live stream. This is the highest number of viewers that we ever had during a stream. But please make sure to like the live stream and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Very few of you do this thing, but yeah, please make sure to do that. Hello Neff, hope you're doing good, man. Happy to see you around here. Okay, so in terms of internal structure, things look slightly bearish, and this is exactly why I want you to be slightly cautious. Although once again, the external structure, it's protected, the external structure, it's absolutely bullish. The timeline is very bullish because of new crypto friendly president, new crypto friendly administration that we are going to see in the next 6 days. But the internal structure, something that I'm pointing out towards is this thing. You see, this is the internal structure that I'm talking about. You have an impulsive wave, you have a corrective wave, you have an impulsive wave, you have a corrective wave. And if you would draw the fib levels for this impulsive and corrective wave market structure, then you would notice that this is the start of impulsive wave and this is the end of impulsive wave. So if you would draw the fib retracement level, this previous retracement was not just at the resistance area. And by the way, this is something that I explained in my last live stream as well, that this move that we saw happen from 102,000. First of all, it was not random at all. It was mainly because price was hitting into a resistance area. But the important part is that price hit into the 65% fib level, which shows you that the internal structure is somewhat bearish, right? If you would look at the slightly higher time frame chart, it would become much more apparent that the internal structure, it's slightly bearish, but once again, the overall timeline is still bullish, which means that if price had a rejection of this level, okay, this was the rejection, right, at 65% fib level, you can simply just flip these levels also, and you can expect the price to bounce off 127% level. And this is exactly why, since this was an important fractal, since this was a very precise fractal, this is exactly why I was expecting the price to drop at least down to 88,140, because this is the 127% fib level. Unfortunately, we did not get a wick down to this level. And this was mainly because price just bounced off the 4-hour quarterly VWAP. And that's perfectly fine, right? We still have limits placed around this region, and I would explain to you why placing limits around this region is so important. Okay, so if this fractal is still into play, or if this internal structure is still into play, then you can simply just draw the fib levels for this impulsive wave as well. This is the start of impulsive wave. This is the end of impulsive wave. Let me just, change these levels back to normal. And, you can notice that price is almost about to hit into not just a 4-hour resistance area. Okay, this is extremely important because we all know that the first retest of a level is extremely important. The first retest always provides you with a single best opportunity to take a long or a short position, which means that if price hits into $98,000 region, this is not only going to be the first retest of $98,000 resistance after we had a break below, price had a break below, consolidated a little bit, then is going back up to 98,000, which means that this is going to be the first retest of $98,000 resistance area. This is first thing. But secondly, if you look at the structure of internal waves, if you look at this internal market structure, you would notice that price is almost about to hit into 61%, 65% fib level, and every possibility that these two confluences may combine with each other and may give price a strong rejection. At least this is what I'm expecting, but it obviously, since the overall timeline is bullish, this thing may slightly be delayed. We may have a move above $98,000 region as well, but I would still remain cautious. I would not take any risk because 61, 65% fib level, this is an extremely important point, and you need to be aware of the fact that if price hits into this level and we face a rejection around this area, this is not going to be random at all. Because if you look at the previous fractal, this fractal right here, you have the start of impulsive wave, you have the end of impulsive wave, and price perfectly hit into 65% fib level. It took us almost like 4 to 8 hours for price to face some kind of rejection. And thanks to this trend line, we know the fact about trend line. Whenever price is bouncing off a trend line, it always breaks below the trend line very impulsively, and this is exactly what happened, right? And just to let you know, the PPI numbers were released almost like an hour ago, and the numbers were bullish, but we know that the implications, they can be extremely complex. That's why I'm not going to get into the details. That's why I don't really talk about fundamentals that much. That's why I'm almost always focused on the technicals. That's why I'm almost always focused on the chart part, because I'm a big believer of the fact that any information that you would need regarding any particular financial instrument, it's always going to be available right in front of you on the charts. You need not to talk about fundamentals that much. But the price action during the last 24 hours was extremely volatile, and this is something that I'm expecting throughout the next week as well. Okay, because we have CPI numbers going to be released tomorrow, Wednesday, so that's why the timeline, it's once again very bullish, but at the same time very volatile as well. Okay, so this is all about the structure. Let's just quickly talk about the next support and resistance regions as well. Just like I mentioned that as soon as price had a 4-hour candle close below this low, okay, I was talking about this in my market updates channel as well. Although I don't really share market updates over my Twitter account, so you would have to join the Discord server if you wish to receive the market updates. I'm trying my best to, as soon as I see something important happening on the charts, I almost immediately update this in my market updates channel. So you would have to join the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. So, uh, you know, just yesterday when we had a 4-hour close below this support area, the chances of having a deviation were extremely low. But if you guys have been watching some of my previous live streams, you would know that deviation, it is an extremely important it is an extremely important thing, right? It is an extremely important entry model, and in itself it is an extremely important confluence as well. Okay, usually when we rely on confluences, usually when we are about to enter into a setup, we talk about support, resistance, we talk about trend lines, chart patterns, exponential moving averages, VWAP, and a few other things, and then we decide that okay, this setup, it's going to be rated at maybe 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10. But usually whenever I see that a setup has a deviation move happening on the chart, I immediately rate it without adding any extra confluences. I immediately rate it around 7 out of 10. Sorry, around 8 out of 10, around 8, 9 out of 10. Okay, because deviation itself is a very powerful concept. Deviation itself is a very powerful confluence, and that's why you always need to pay attention to it. So in this situation, on the Bitcoin chart, the chances of having a deviation 24 hours ago when the US market opened up and price had an immediate break below the support area, the chances of having a deviation were extremely low. I would say less than 5% chance there was that there would be a deviation happening on the chart. But luckily we had a deviation. Okay, and this was a very surprising thing as well. I was saying that only a miracle would happen if we if we get to see any deviation around here. And this is exactly what we saw happen, that we had a nice deviation below this 92k support. And let me just quickly explain to you what happened around 92k support. So all those people who had their long positions, who were opening their long positions at this support area, and they were expecting that, just like the previous situations, because we all know that most of the beginner traders, they would spot a support area or a resistance area, and they would see price bouncing off that level, having rejections off that level over and over again, and then they would say that this is a very strong support to resistance area. But we know this thing, that if price is bouncing off a level over and over again, or facing rejections off a level over and over again, and on top of that the retracements are getting smaller and smaller, then this usually indicates that price is about to break above or below that level very soon. The second part of the statement, it is extremely important, which says that the retracements are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And in this situation, by the way, the same logic, the same rule applies to trend lines also. The same thing happened in terms of this horizontal support. You can see that price had the bounce, the second bounce, then we had this third bounce, and notice that all of these bounces, they are bigger and bigger and bigger. But with this bounce and with this bounce, price was, this bounce, in comparison to all of the previous bounces, in comparison to all of the previous reaction, was a very small one, which usually indicates, which usually shows you that price is about to break below the support area, because buyers, they are no longer interested to long at this area, right? Because we all know that maybe the first time price came back down to this level, people like me, they would say that the first retest is always the best opportunity to take a long or a short position, and they would try to take a long position. And that's why you would see a nice big bounce happening off that support area, or maybe a nice big rejection happening off that resistance area. And by the way, some of you have been asking me that why are you not taking any short positions? I did open like two short positions. One we closed after like 4% move. The other one we had to close break even. The reason why I'm not opening any short positions, because it is going to be extremely risky. First of all, the risk to reward ratio, it's not too great. So even if I put some optimistic take profit target saying that price would go down 30%, 40%, if you happen to open a short position, if you're able to open a short position right at the top, for example, if you were able to open a short position at 3600, 3700 on the Ethereum chart, then that was a perfectly different situation. That was a totally perfect scenario. But if you are thinking about opening a short position around 3400, even at the time of the first retest of resistance area, I'm telling you that the risk to reward ratio is going to be absolutely cooked, right? So there is no point focusing on short positions more and more, because this is the funny thing, in fact, that just 24 hours ago I was getting too many DMs and questions that, hey Sherlock, just let us know if the bear market has already started. Just in a matter of 24 hours, from 89,000 all the way up to 98,000 almost, we are, everybody's saying we are so back, and everybody's asking about which altcoins they should be buying. And this is a perfect retail psychology as well, that people, they are absolutely bearish right at the bottom, and they are absolutely bullish right at the top. And this is something that you need to avoid, right? If you are able to if you're able to understand the overall timeline, then you would obviously understand that the overall timeline is absolutely bullish, and you need not to fear. You need not to be fearful about anything. Obviously, your entry points, they need to be precise. You need to be entering at the correct entry points. You need not to randomly take a long position, or need not to randomly buy at any spot. This is something which is extremely important. But anyways, we were talking about support and resistance level, and I just mentioned to you that at the time of this last retest, the bounce was extremely small. And maybe at the time the first retest happened, there were 100 buyers. The second time price came back down to this level once again, maybe there were only 90 buyers. The third time price came back down, maybe there were only 70 buyers. The fourth time the price came back down to this level, maybe there were only 40 buyers. And slowly the numbers of buyers are reducing. Let's just imagine that the number of market participants, it's same, it's still at 100, which means if the numbers of buyers are reducing, the opposite side is gaining control, is gaining momentum. And what's the opposite side? These are the number of sellers, right? So the number of sellers, now they're at 60, or now they're maybe at 70, which means that even if price is going back down to this level, there is a very small bounce happening, which means the sellers, they're slowly gaining momentum, they're slowly gaining control. And that's why I do not claim that I can look at the volume profiles, I can look at the volume on the chart, and based on that, I would be able to tell if this is a fake out or if this is a genuine breakout. But at least based on, I have two very important confluences, I have two very important indicators, I have two very important things that you can use in order to avoid any kind of fake out. The first one is that look at these bounces. If the bounces or the rejections, they're getting smaller, hitting into a level, if price is not having massive rejections or not massive bounces, you should know that it's about to break above or below that level. And secondly, you need not to be worried about why did we not open a short position around here. The reason was very simple, because there was no consolidation. If there is no consolidation, then the breakout is not genuine, and it can very easily be turned into a fake out, because consolidation simply just tells you that the sellers, they were not just able to break the price below this level, but they were also able to keep the price sustained below this level. So please pay attention to this statement, please pay attention to my words, that consolidation, it's the most important confluence in my trading strategy, even in terms of trend lines, even in terms of chart patterns, even in terms of support and resistance, because consolidation is telling you that the buyers or the sellers, they were not just able to break price above or below a level, but they are also able to keep the price sustained above or below a level. So in this situation, we can clearly see that this turned out to be a fake out, this turned out to be a deviation, simply because the sellers, although they were successful in breaking the price below the support area, but they were not able to keep the price sustained below that level because of the 4-hour quarterly VWAP, and that's exactly where the majority of the buyers, they entered into their positions. And I was watching a few interviews of a few hedge fund managers, and they made a very beautiful statement, very important statement, that place your limit order or place your entry point at a region where you are thinking about placing a stop loss. And we know that the majority of the people, they would have placed their stop losses just below this low. Okay, even if you would ask me that if you had to take a long position, where would you be placing a stop loss, the choice is very obvious. I would be placing my stop loss just below this low, although I would try my best to keep the stop loss a manual stop loss. Manual stop loss usually helps in these kind of situations, but the thing is very simple, that the majority of the people, they would try to place the stop loss just below the previous low, which means that these regions, they have an obvious amount of stop losses being placed, and these regions, they are being hunted very regularly, and that's why you need to pay attention to it. But anyways, if you are not someone just like me who is trading on the basis of these stop loss hunts, because I don't do that. I mainly trade on the basis of support, resistance, trend lines, chart patterns, VWAP, exponential moving averages. These are the few confluences that take into account, right? So in these kind of situations, you can always rely on the consolidation part. And we know that what happened around here, what exactly is deviation, how exactly deviation takes place. All those people who had their open long positions around here, or who were trying to open long position at the time of this retest, because they thought that they were being taught that if price is hitting into a level, a support over and over again, this usually shows you how strong the level actually is. But this statement, it's not true. Okay, this is an absolutely ridiculous situation, and I'm telling this very straightforward. So if price is hitting into a level and the retracements are getting smaller, it is in no way showing you that the level is strong. It is basically showing you the level is basically getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Okay, so price had a break below, so all these long positions, even if you had a stop loss being placed around here, even if you had a high leverage long position with your liquidation price just below this low, or even if you had even if you did not have a stop loss or liquidation price, you would have simply just panicked close your positions, right? So the majority of the long positions, 90% long positions, they were simply just wiped out of the market. And what happened next was that people started thinking that all these breakout traders, they started thinking that maybe price is just breaking below the support area, so let's just quickly jump into the short position. So all these people, they opened their short positions, and where did they place their stop loss? They placed their stop losses just below this, just above this high. Okay, just above this level. And when price quickly made this reversal, first of all, they took out all these long positions. And when price quickly made this reversal, all these short positions were also wiped out. All these short positions, they were also taken out of the market, because we all know that whenever the short positions, they're being closed, buying takes place. So it kind of creates a chain reaction. People are getting stopped out, people are getting liquidated, people are getting panic closing their short positions. So in all three scenarios, in all three situations, short positions are being closed. So not only more and more breakout traders are entering into long position, which means price is supposed to go up, but at the same time, people like me who usually trade deviations, they are also jumping into long positions. So price is once again going up. But at the same time, since the short positions are being closed, and we know that whenever the short positions are being closed, buying takes place, and because of that also, price is going up. So all three situations are making the price go up, and it sort of creates a chain reaction. And all you have to do is just spot this deviation move. Now it's completely up to you. There are two things that you can do as soon as you spot a deviation move. The first setup is slightly risky, although deviation itself is a very powerful setup, but the first setup, it's slightly risky. What you can do is that as soon as you see a deviation move, okay, you can immediately enter into the long position. You can on the smaller time frame chart, on the hourly time frame chart, you can see that price had a break below, created a deviation move, then quickly jumped back above this level, and then you can simply just open a long position as soon as this hourly candle closes. Okay, placing a stop loss below this low, this is an obvious choice for the stop loss. The second way that you can play a deviation move, this is a good one by the way, is that you can simply just wait for the retest of this level. And the reason why I'm waiting for the retest of this level is not just because of deviation gives the setup maybe a 7 out of 10 rating, but at the same time, if you draw the fib levels, because we know that there is a massive wick downside, that's why we can always draw the fib levels. Something that I usually explain in my live streams, that whenever you have wicks in both directions, massive wicks in both directions on the price chart, and you have an important support resistance area somewhere around those levels, you can always draw the fib levels, even if the overall market structure is not clear to you. Although having a good understanding of market structure is very important, you cannot just arbitrarily draw fib levels at any point. But anyways, the point is that 61%, 65% fib level, they are perfectly aligned with this support area, which means if we get a retest of this level, fibs are also aligned in our favor. And finally, if you would go to, let's say, a smaller time frame chart and draw the volume profile for this wick right here, for this major swing low, and let's say this high right here, once again the point of control is present around here, which means that this long position has now three confluences, and I would rate this long position at, maybe we would be lucky if we get tagged into this position. I don't really know if the retracement is going to happen down to this level or not. The reason for this is, if you look at the quarterly VWAP, it took us quite some time to break below the 4-hour quarterly and yearly VWAP. People were getting so excited last Friday when we were hitting into 95,500. I was mentioning that you need not to be excited so much, because price is hitting into this 4-hour quarterly and yearly VWAP. This is the yearly VWAP on 4-hour time frame chart. This red line and this black line is the 4-hour quarterly VWAP. And it took us almost 3 months to break below these levels, these quarterly and yearly VWAP on the 4-hour time frame chart. And it took us almost like 4 to 5 days. But not the equal amount of effort, but it usually takes an equal amount of effort. But it's a very good thing. We are lucky that price did not have a very longer period of consolidation below these levels. The first retest happened of quarterly VWAP, and by the way, quarterly and yearly VWAP or any of these dynamic lines, they act in the very same manner as a traditional support and resistance area would do, right? So all these rules about retest, about the first retest, about the deviations, not about deviation, but the rest of the rules, they're usually very same about these dynamic lines also. The reason why, once again, I want you to be cautious is because price is hitting into, almost about to hit into 98,000, which is a region of 65% fib level. If you look at the internal structure, it's still bearish. At the same time, we have in 98,000 resistance that has not been retested before. We know that the first retest is usually always gives price a nice rejection or a bounce, which means once again there is every possibility that you may see a bounce happening around here. And finally, we have not been able to break above this ELD VWAP. You can see that price wicked into this ELD VWAP, and once again we had a small rejection, and it's going to take an equal amount of effort. You see, this is how the ELD VWAP gave price a nice bounce. So it's going to take a similar kind of effort to break above this ELD VWAP. It's not going to be easy, but the important part is that the confluences suggest that even if the retest of 92.5k happens, this is going to be a very good opportunity to take a long position. The overall timeline, since it's bullish, I don't know if that retest is going to happen or not. Anything could be happening. It may be a new sell the news event. We have the CPI numbers coming up. We have very soon, towards the end of this month, we have FOMC as well. Although the possibility of rate cuts, it's almost down to 0%. The Fed, some of the banks have said that, in the US have said that, they are not really expecting Fed to cut rates throughout this year. Okay, which is a really bearish thing for the overall market. The only thing the market is expecting is that Trump would make some very quick decisions about the Bitcoin reserve thing, about the overall market, about the overall economy, and secondly, he would push the Fed to cut rates, because Trump already said in his speech, almost like in his address, almost like 2 to 3 days ago, that the interest rates, they were too high. And we know that Trump and Fed, they have a kind of history. Back in 2017 also, Trump pushed the Fed to cut rates, and this time also, let's just see if he manages to do this or not. But he already has said that although federal bank, it's an independent institution, but we all know that the president, they usually try to influence these institutions. And that's why Trump, we all know, he's definitely going to ask Fed to cut rates. He already has mentioned that the interest rates, they are little too high. So if the Fed starts cutting rates, it's definitely going to be bullish for the overall market, right? So this is all about the Bitcoin chart. And finally, let's take a look at the USDT dominance chart as well. The reason why I want you to be once again slightly cautious is because USDT dominance, it's sitting on a very important level. It's not just the horizontal support, but at the same time, it's also the region of 4-hour quarterly VWAP. Although this is the second or the third retest of the quarterly VWAP, that's why it's not that important. It's the third or the fourth retest of this horizontal support area. That's why it's not that important. Every possibility that we may break down below, and if we happen to get a retest of 98,000, USDT dominance would at least go back down to this yearly VWAP. But this is going to be the first retest of yearly VWAP on the USDT dominance chart, and I do not expect this first retest to fail, which means that once again, I do not expect the 98,000 retest to fail in any situation, which means that once again the 98,000 reaction, it's going to be massive. It's definitely going to be there. Even if after 98,000 rejection, price goes slightly down, maybe 96,000, 95,000, but at least we are sitting at a resistance area, and you need not to be opening any random long positions around this time. So this is all about the USDT dominance chart. The total 2 chart is also sitting at a resistance area. You have the quarterly VWAP, you have the yearly VWAP. Look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Also, this one is still sitting on the support. I have recently tried to look at not the BTC.D chart, but BTC Dom chart. Although this is actually a coin which you can trade on Binance as well. You can open a long or a short position on that. But this one makes much more sense to me, because the actual BTC.D chart, it's slightly cluttered, it's slightly noisy. So that's why nowadays I usually look at BTC Dom chart, right? Bitcoin dominance chart, this chart right here. You can actually trade this one as well, and I guess this one is only listed over Binance. Yes. Okay, so since Bitcoin dominance is still sitting on a support area, we had a reclaim of this level. I don't know, if this one is going to be sustained above this level or not. I don't know if this one is going to remain above this level for a longer period or not. But the point is that, it's still sitting on this support area, and total 2 chart, it's still sitting at a resistance area, which means that you need to be once again cautious about opening any random long position. Just like I mentioned at the very beginning of the live stream also, if we had opened long positions just tomorrow, almost 24 hours ago, then they would have made any sense. But at this point, opening random or too many positions at this time is not something which makes sense to me. Okay, so this is all about the Bitcoin market, the overall market updates. I'm usually asked over and over again by my team to keep the updates short, to limit the updates to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because people usually enjoy watching the update when it's a short update, to the point update, precise update. But the reason why I explain all of these things in detail is because I want you guys not just to have an overview of the market, but also have a basic understanding of the underlying reasons and everything. I'm not hiding anything. The confluences that I trade with, the confluences that I use myself personally, I'm very open about it. I'm usually trying my best to explain all of these confluences to you guys throughout these streams. So please make sure to, whenever you watch this video, please make sure to press the like button. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure to, follow me over Twitter as well, right? And finally, before I move forward towards taking any questions that you guys may have dropped in the chat box, first of all, we have a discount going on my mentorship. The overall mentorship package is going to cost you around $1,000 to $1,250, but the lifetime package is, we have a discount going on in the lifetime package of mentorship, and it's only costing around $650. All the resources, all the softwares, for example, exocharts, for example, trading light, for example, this software, quant tower, all of these softwares, all of the resources, all of the PDFs, all the live lectures, all the previous recordings, all of this is absolutely included in that lifetime package of $650. There are going to be 300 plus videos in that mentorship. You would have access to all of these videos. You would have access to all of the live lectures. You would have access to live lectures as well. So yeah, if you wish to avail that discount, you can always DM me over my Twitter account, or you can simply just open up the support ticket in the Discord server, Foxian's Discord server. You can find the link in the description of this video, and you can open up a support ticket and ask the support staff to to give you details about the mentorship. We have a very limited number of spots available. The discount has been going for the last 1 week or so, 1 or 2 weeks, so that's why you need to avail the spots as soon as possible. And a few of my students are already in the stream. You can always ask them for any feedback about the overall mentorship course. Is the last alert still valid after stream that you're posting a CMP trade? Yes, soon after the stream ends, I'm going to post a limit, sorry, not a limit order, but actually a market order on a trade. So as soon as the stream ends, please make sure to, if you're not in the Discord server, please make sure to join the Discord server. Once again, as soon as the stream ends, I'm going to share a long trade, and I would only keep these two long trades. The first one is going to be about EVEX, and the second one I will be sharing in my channel in the Discord server very soon as the live stream ends. A long, right? Yes, it's going to be a long trade. Opening a short trade is a big no-no for me, right? I'm not gonna open a short trade. Okay, so Dodge is a really interesting chart. Somebody just requested the chart for Dodge in the chat. Dodge is a really interesting chart. Unlike the other few coins, it did not have a large, massive move towards downside. We all know that as soon as Trump comes into the office, and as soon as Elon Musk he joins the Trump administration in Department of I don't know what was the name of the department. I guess it was Department of Government or something like that. The abbreviation of the name itself says Dodge. So we know that the overall timeline for the Dodge coin is also extremely bullish. But let's just forget about all of these news events and fundamentals. Let's just focus on the chart part. In my opinion, price should have held above this level, but although we had a break below this level, consolidated, we had a rejection. So the overall chart is looking bullish to me. As soon as price reclaims this level, it may happen in the next few hours. And unlike the other few coins, Dodge did not have a large move towards downside. I would definitely take a long position around here, okay, on Dodge specifically. So you just need to wait for the consolidation part above this level. Price is still sitting at a resistance area, but since the first retest, the second retest, the third retest, there have been already too many retests of this level that have already happened, which means that you need to pay attention to the Dodge chart. Let me just place the alerts around here. So as soon as price breaks above this level, I would wait for the consolidation part, and I would definitely take a long position on Dodge at this support area, because we all know that this is a very important support. Although perfect position would have been if we had already opened it around this support area, okay? But still we just missed it. So I would open the long at the retest of this support area. Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, Department of Government Efficiency. I don't know what exactly it is about, but Department of Government Efficiency. He is going to head the Department of Government Efficiency. Bitcoin is moving down now. It hit 97,200. Could that have been the resistance? No, the actual resistance is the reason why Bitcoin is going down right now. I wouldn't really say it's going down, because it's literally down like 0.2%, 0.3%. It's still around the same level. The reason why we are a little bit stagnant around this level is because of ELD VWAP. The actual resistance is around here at 98,200 because of the fib level and because of the actual horizontal resistance area. Okay, so on the Bitcoin chart, this is the actual resistance area. Okay. Is ETH limit still in play? Yes, we have a, for those of you who don't know, we have a limit placed for Ethereum around $2,800. Although we got a perfect front run on that, let me just show you the chart because of MTF 200 EMA, but that limit is still valid. Okay, this is the limit for Ethereum. Ethereum, by the way, is at resistance, so that's why you need to avoid any immediate long positions. This was also support on Ethereum. We had a nice deviation below that support, which means that if you really want to take a long position, you can do that if we happen to get a retest of $3,000 level. Okay, that would make some sense. But I would still keep my limits around $2,800 region because this level has not been retested in a long time, and we all know that the retests, they usually happen, and the first retests, they are usually very powerful, extremely powerful. So that's why I would just wait at $2,800 region. The entry for this is at 2837. And by the way, I shared the limits for Ethereum long position on my Twitter account as well. Oh, Sherlock, master of keen deduction. Wow, deduction. I think you meant to say dedication, right? Your wisdom sparks my wealth's construction from market riddles to gains. So clear, your logic wipes all fear. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for this nice poetic expression. No, I cannot skip it. This is the first time someone has written a piece of poetry for me, even if it's through ChatGPT. But yeah, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for this appreciation. Okay, if you guys have any other questions, please make sure to drop in the chat box. Joseph is saying, got screwed in the market fall yesterday. I should have set some stop loss. Freaking sucks. What position did you have, Joseph? And if it's if you got stopped out in any position, trust me with this thing. I don't know why people usually say that they are, they're sad about, market making a quick reversal after hitting the stop losses. You know, market is literally it, like a coin toss. It could simply just go in either direction. Okay, just imagine the situation if you had not placed a stop loss and market would just keep on going down. Let's just imagine that it's down 70%, sorry, down 20%, 30% from your entry point, and you, for some reason, you did not place the stop loss, and now you are just looking at the chart thinking what we should be doing next because you failed to close the position at a proper invalidation point. And I'm speaking this from my personal experience. I'm speaking this from people I have talked to over and over again, some beginner traders, some experienced traders as well. So even if price hits your stop loss and just goes back up, you need not to be upset about it. You should be happy about it, that at least you got stopped out on that trade. And because remember this thing, it could have simply just gone in the opposite direction as well. Okay, this is simply just like a coin toss. Popcat. Yes, Popcat is a perfect example of this. Popcat hit a stop loss. Just last month we had two losing trades. Out of like 38 trades, we had like two losing trades. The first one was on Popcat and the second one was, I guess, on ENS. Yes. So Popcat hit a stop loss around 1.43, I guess, or 1.42. And now just look at the Popcat chart. It's down at around 0.50. It's almost down 70% from this entry point just in a matter of 30 days. So you can imagine what would have happened to someone who was just keeping that trade open. So that's why I'm telling you that you need not to do this thing. Are you going to post more long positions right before January 20th, Trump in office and Gary out? Yes, I'm definitely going to place a few long positions. That's not just going to be, although, just a few positions are going to be market orders, and almost like 70-80% are going to be the limit orders. I don't care about if price is almost like 20% above from my limit order. I would simply just place the limit orders at the right point. I would wait for price to retrace down a little bit, and whatever happens, I'm not really worried about price being like little too far away from my entry point or my limit order. I would simply just place the limit order at the right point. I would not chase the price. Okay, this is something that I have explained over and over again. Stop loss is always your friend, absolutely. So I guess that's it for today. If you guys don't have any other questions, then you can let me know in the chat box. If there is any specific question, you can always drop it in the chat box. And yeah, once again, if you are watching the YouTube channel for the very first time, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are already at 1,310 subscribers, and we recently reached 10,000 views on my YouTube channel. I still remember I started the channel back on 9th of July, right? 9th of July was the date when I first started this YouTube channel. It's been almost like 6-7 months. And we did a very few streams during the past 3 months because I did not have a stable internet connection. My internet connection was having some issues, and we all know that for streaming on YouTube, you need to have a good internet connection, which recently got installed. But during the last 4 months, 3 months, we did not have any live stream. But since I already have a good internet connection now, I'm going to regularly stream over YouTube. I would be uploading a few educational content videos as well. So please make sure to subscribe to the subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the YouTube videos, and share with your friends who are interested in crypto. And thank you so much. A road to 10K coming after quarter one. Yeah, my goal is to reach at least 100,000 views as soon as possible. We are still at around like 10,000 views, which is a great achievement considering that I only posted around 23 videos in the last 6 to 7 months, and this is not something that I would do next. I would definitely post regularly over my YouTube channel. I definitely want to pursue my career as a YouTuber also. Yeah, not as a YouTuber, but actually as a live streamer. Sherlock, what's the dream? I don't know, man. I already have been living my dream life, so I've never really given it a much thought. But yeah, the dream I would say is to retire as soon as possible. I don't really want to just keep on doing this thing because spending 16 17 hours daily looking at the charts is not the most enjoyable experience. uh, Obviously I love doing it. I have been doing it for the past 6 7 years. I absolutely enjoy doing it. But once again, this is not something that you wish to keep on doing for the rest of your life. So at some point in time, I would definitely want to stop and focus on my practical life as well, which I have been absolutely ignoring. I have no social life. This is all that I do every single day. So that's why I plan to focus on that part also at some point in my life. He wants to be a dying electron. Yes, absolutely. The copycat subscription should subscribe. The copycat subscribers, I don't know, what do you mean by that? The copycat subscribers should subscribe to your channel. I don't know, what do you mean by that, man? I don't know who copycat is. Why? So lifetime membership means only few years. No, 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 that does not obviously mean that I would not be posting any calls or any such thing. I would definitely, I'm just saying that I would not be spending like 17 18 hours every single day looking at these charts. This is something that I wish to avoid. You can retire us too. Yes, that's the dream actually. Can you give me some long limits on OGN USDT? Okay, this is the last chart that I'm going to look at, OGN USDT. Although I'm not sure if I can give you any limits on that. Let's just quickly take a look at it. OGN. Let's take a look at the higher time frame chart, daily time frame. Remove all the drawings. This one seems to be sitting at a nice support area. Okay. No, I would say you need to just avoid it a little bit. Maybe wait for price to go back up a little bit, and then you can try taking a long position, building a long position. Okay, you can just do like this as well. It's still sitting on the support. On the 4 hour time frame chart, maybe it had a nice deviation. Yeah, so if I had to take a long position on OGN, this looks good. Definitely I would just place the limit around here, stop loss below this low, and then I would target whatever the next resistance area is. Okay, a slightly risky position, I would say. There are not going to be too many confluences, and this is not the perfect deviation move. This is in fact the perfect deviation move, and you can see that after a deviation we had a nice retest and price just went straight away up. Okay, this is what I mean when I say that deviation, it usually has a very strong, very powerful win rate. You can already see this thing, almost a 50% move. So just wait for the consolidation part and then wait for the retest of this area, and then you can take a long position. I cannot obviously share the chart in the chat box, and so 0.1016 is where you would be placing your limits, and your choice is to place stop loss below this low, or if you would like to have a tight stop loss, then maybe below this low as well. But I would recommend placing the stop loss below this low and add another DC around this level, and simply just take this position. I would also set the alerts because this looks nice to me, so maybe I would also take this position. Do you mind a quick recap for your expectations on BTC alts? Uh, I already have explained everything related to this throughout the stream. So obviously this stream is going to be there on YouTube. You can watch this later on. But yeah, we already did discuss in detail uh, about what could be happening with altcoins in near future. The overall timeline, I said it's definitely bullish, but you need to be slightly cautious because most of the altcoins are still trading under major resistance areas. And similar is the case with Bitcoin, it's trading at $98,000 resistance. The overall timeline is bullish. The overall market structure is bullish, and but 98,000 resistance, that's where we are sitting at, and very soon we are going to hit this 98,000 resistance. Okay, just in a matter of few hours we will definitely do that, hopefully. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining in. I have to share the limits as well, and the coin that I had to share the limit on is already up almost like what, 2%, 3%. So I would end the stream and I would share the position for that token in my channel in the Discord server. So please make sure to join the Discord server. Thank you so much. Take care and have a great week ahead. See you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye bye.